Hello and welcome to a new colouring video. In today's video I'm just going to be showing you a few little tips on how to colour autumn trees with coloured pencils. Now the pencils that I'm using are the Polychromos pencils, and the colours that I'm going to be using are juniper green, burnt sienna, deep scarlet red, light orange glaze, cadmium orange, light yellow ochre, green gold and walnut brown. Okay, so I've just drawn out 4 basic tree shapes onto some coloured pencil paper, and I'm starting with a layering technique. Now you can see that this tree that I'm colouring, it's got like 3 main areas. So for each area I'm starting towards the bottom left, and I'm just starting with the colour not very strong, but then I'm fading it out towards the top right. So I'll just do that for all 3 little areas, and the aim is to make it look like the leaves are changing from green to gold and then from gold to red. So we're going to have each little area starting green at the bottom, then gold in the middle, and then a nice reddy tint to the top right. So now I'm using the light yellow ochre and I'm going over the top of most of that green, and then I'm fading that out as it goes towards the top left. So I'm not overlapping the whole of the green, I'm leaving a little bit of the green at the bottom. And then now I'm using the orange glaze and I'm doing the same. I'm overlapping the yellow and then fading it out towards the top right. And now I've got the light cadmium red, which I forgot to mention at the beginning. It wasn't in the list at the beginning. Yeah, light cadmium red, and I'm just colouring the edges in that, but I'm not like fully colouring it like with full pressure, as you can see. Just doing it lightly, and I'm fading it into the yellowy area. Okay, so that was the first layer done. So now what I'm doing is I've got the light yellow ochre pencil, and then I'm just covering the whole thing in a layer of that to try and kind of bring it all together a little bit more, because it was looking a little bit stripy, and that's kind of brings it together a little bit better. So the next step was to try and blend all that together with the blender pencil, because this particular paper, it shows a lot of like the white flecks, because it's got like quite a bit of tooth in it. It wasn't easy to smooth that colour out, and I don't really know if I'm so keen on this paper. It's the Strathmore coloured pencil paper. Yeah, so I'm just using a Polycolour blender pencil for this, because I heard that these are better for the Polychromos, but I'm not really so sure about that. But anyhow, I did get it blended a little bit, so that looks a bit better, and that's kind of like the first 2 layers now done. And then next I'm going in with the burnt sienna, and I'm adding a shadowing into that. So I'm just going around in little circular motions, and I'm not covering it all, I'm doing it more so towards the bottom and then in other random areas to make it look, to give it that like kind of bushy appearance. So this is making it look a little bit more 3-dimensional, and I'm leaving little gaps here and there, and I'm making it a lot heavier towards the bottom left. Then the next layer is the juniper green, and again I'm using it to add shadowing, so those little burnt sienna areas I'm darkening them with this green. And now I've got the green gold pencil and I'm adding a layer of that to try and blend that red into the yellow a bit more, because the line between the red and the yellow was just a little bit harsh. And then I've got the deep scarlet red pencil, and in those red areas you can see I'm adding just some tiny little bits of texture there, so more in the red area and then a few little bits moving into the yellow area as well. And now I'm just colouring the trunk, and I'm using the burnt sienna to the right hand side just lightly, and then I use the and then I'm blending that in, and that really brings that nice burnt colour out. And then to the right hand side I'm using the walnut brown. So it's quite harsh towards the edge and then faded in towards the middle for all of the little branches. Okay, so I'm just having a closer look at it, and I decide that it needs a little bit more like definition in the shadowy areas, so I use the walnut brown pencil. Oh no, sorry, it's the burnt sienna. So I'm just darkening the shadowy areas with that burnt sienna pencil. And then that's the first little tray. So next is the same type of tree, but I'm just using different colours. I'm going to have it look like it's kind of like a dark burnt colour underneath, and then it's getting like a lighter yellow towards the top right. So it's just the same techniques, just using different colours. So I'm starting off with the walnut brown. And then the next colour is the burnt sienna. I'm always leaving that space to put the lighter colours at the top left. Then the next colour is green gold. And I'm actually, as you can see, I went back and covered the darker parts with this as well. It's just to give it like that nice kind of golden glow to it. And then lastly the light yellow ochre towards the top part. So that's the first layer done, and then I'm going to blend the whole thing in again, just basically what I did with the other one, but like I said, it's just the colours are swapped for different colours. So now I'm adding another layer of the light yellow ochre all over. And then I'm going back in with the walnut brown and the burnt sienna, and I'm kind of going back and forth with them two just to add the texture and the definition around the bottom areas. And I'll just put this on high speed now because it's pretty much the same as the first tray, and the trunk is also just the same as the first tree, using the walnut brown and the burnt sienna. Okay, so now on to the third tree, which is this kind of pointy shaped tree. I think it's called a conifer, I'm not really sure. So I'm starting off with the juniper green, putting this across the bottom on the left hand side, and then I'm fading it out towards the middle in a kind of a curve, so the white area that's left is kind of in a curve. And then I'm using earth green yellowish, and I'm covering the juniper green and then just fading that colour out further and leaving a smaller white area, but still with the same kind of curve for the highlight. And now I'm going to use the light yellow ochre just to colour the last area in and fade that into the green area. And actually take it right over the whole of the green area. And then I didn't think that it was a deep enough goldy colour that I was wanting, so then I got the green gold and I darkened that up. And now I've got the burnt sienna and I'm trying to darken the shadowed side of the tree, because kind of the left hand side we want it all in shadow and the right hand side is where the highlight area is, but also the underneath part that I'm colouring now is also in shadow, so that's where we have that curve. And now I've got the Derwent blender pencil and I'm now blending all that just to bring the colour out and try and cover up all that too thin the paper. And then I swap the pencil to the Polycolour blender. I'm trying to work out which is better for the Polychromos pencils, but they both seem to work equally well. But the Derwent one definitely works really well with the Prismacolor pencils, whereas I don't think the Polycolour one does. And although this brings out a lovely colour, I really don't enjoy it because it just aches my hand so much. And I know you can do it with mineral spirits, but I can't be bothered waiting for it to dry in between. I find it really annoying. And now I've got the walnut brown and I'm still trying to darken that shadowed area even more towards the left edge and the bottom. And then I'm just drawing a little tiny little trunk at the bottom there, so it's walnut brown to the shadow side, and then I'm using the green gold to the right hand side. And then I've got the walnut brown again and I'm just darkening the very bottom of the tray. So the very underneath of it will be the darkest part. Now I don't even know if these trays actually change colour in the winter or in the autumn, but I think they might, and if it did, it would probably change to this colour. And now I'm just adding some more of the juniper green into the shadowed area as well. So it's kind of, I've got the darkness with the dark browns, and then I've brought it back to green again with a layer of that juniper green. Okay, so now I'm on to the last tray, and this tray is kind of what you would often find in colouring books. So they've just got these little individual leaves, very much Joanna Basford type trays, and I just think that they look cute, just colouring all the leaves kind of different colours, but I'm doing them in autumn colours. And for each individual leaf, I'm just starting off by colouring one side and the bottom in kind of a dark colour, and then just colouring the rest in a lighter colour. So these first few that I'm doing are kind of browns and golds and yellows. It's all the colours that I've used in the other trays. And then sometimes just colour the whole outer edge on one side, and then just like I leave a little highlight bit in the middle offset to kind of one side. That one would have preferably been done with a lighter yellow. It's kind of, it looks like it's all one colour, but yeah, if you can get that contrast in there. And now I'm just adding some reddy colours, oranges and reds. Yeah, so I'm just basically mix the whole tray up with just loads of different colours, loads of different autumn colours. I've just randomised it all, and I think it looks really cute when it's finished. And I'm getting little bits of green in there as well. And then for the branches and the trunk, I used the light yellow ochre to the left hand side of all the branches, some burnt sienna towards the middle, and then towards the right hand side I did a line of walnut brown, and then I blended that in with a blender pencil. And that's the finished tray. So everything I've used today is listed in the item description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and if you've already subscribed, please click the bell icon, because that gives you notifications every time I upload a video. And if you haven't clicked the bell icon, you won't necessarily get my videos in your subscription list. Unfortunately, these are the new changes that YouTube have made, so I would really advise you to click that bell icon. It also helps me out as well, because it lets YouTube know that you really like my videos and you want notified when I upload a new one.